I think that there's a place for smaller games in the market. In the past, I might have judged games too harshly for being too concise. If it's over in an hour, how could it be worth the price of admission, young me wondered. Times change though, and as I've gotten older and my time is split between so many things nowadays, I'm in a better position to appreciate games that dare to be small and respect your time while doing so. Sometimes you're not looking for the next big thing that will keep you occupied for the coming 6 weeks or more. Sometimes you're in the mood for something bite sized, a little snack that can be enjoyed for an hour or so before you move on to the next thing that piques your interest. And if you're looking for something that's fast, not too pricey, and a total blast while it lasts, you can't go wrong with that second. Welcome back to Fixed Spots on Video Games. I'm Vic in VR, and today I'd like to spend a bit of time to talk about that second. Let's take a closer look at this tiny title that packs a big punch. Made by Australian developer Sponge Games, That Second is a shooter that reminds one of the old school light gun games. In that regard, it has an almost nostalgic 2000s feel to it. Maybe you remember sitting in front of a CRT television shooting at the screen with a plastic toy gun. That Second brings back the spirits of those older titles like Time Crisis, Virtua Cop, or maybe even Duck Hunt. The mechanics of those games are very similar, but they lack the advantage that VR has here. After picking a level, you'll travel through a series of vantage points where you'll encounter armed men and flying robots. Firing pistols from covered positions, you'll eliminate the threats and gain points for doing so quickly and stylishly. Make it to the end of the level and your points are tallied, giving you a score on a global leaderboard. Virtual reality breathes new life into this familiar game loop. Being able to physically peek around cover or use your entire body to dodge and return fire, have enemies come at the player from all angles, or having all shots connect without any technical issues because of the inherently janky technology. It's fantastic. Because of the high intensity of this game, a few levels in succession will be enough to break out a sweat. This is not a game you play sitting down, but you move around your virtual space to pop out of cover or dodge incoming fire. For this reason, you'll need a bit of space to move around in. Mine is about 1.5 meters by 2 meters, which is more than enough. If you're on a PlayStation 5 like I am, you might have to resort to some dancing from time to time to untangle yourself from the cable attached to the headset. I'll admit I'll run into this problem too in other FPS VR titles on the PlayStation, but the issue became more apparent here because of the fast pace of the game. Personally, I think one gets used to it pretty quickly though, and it doesn't break the immersion either. Quest users who naturally don't have a cable to dance with won't see any problems here. In That Second, every moment matters. This is highlighted by its bullet time mechanic. Landing shots in skulls or eliminating enemies in quick succession will temporarily slow down time. After filling a gauge, the player is also able to activate this bullet time on demand. The effect then lasts for a few seconds. This mechanic is such good fun. Getting multiple takedowns in a row feels incredibly satisfying as the mayhem is highlighted by these slow motion moments. Levels start off basically immediately, and from that point on until the moment you complete it, the action is intense and gripping. A 5-minute playthrough of a level will genuinely feel longer than that. The movement mechanics involve no manual walking. Instead, you teleport from one static position to the other at an incredibly fast pace. Even during firefights, you still have the ability to teleport. You're able to switch cover or even appear behind your foes. There's virtually no waiting involved here. It's just go, go, go. The combat feels snappy too. Enemies go down in a few hits, the player does as well. It's a true arcade-like experience. The fast-paced shooting and reloading makes the firefights hectic and engaging. There's the option to pick between a regular manual reload and a video gamey quick reload. I very much enjoyed using the manual reload system. It adds an interesting new dynamic to combat. I'll admit I did have to get used to the fact that I had to draw ammo up from the shoulder and not from below the waist, which is much more common in VR shooters. That second is a simple game. No puzzles, no secondary gameplay mechanics. There's simply nothing that gets in the way of blasting fools and rushing to the level's end. As such, it's easy to pick up for everyone. If you haven't entirely gotten your VR legs yet, this might be one that can help you get used to virtual reality. Locomotion seems to be a main problem for people who struggle with VR, and because the game uses a teleportation-based movement system exclusively, there is none of that here. VR veterans might still find something interesting here though, as the game rewards skillful play. Quick, stylish and successive takedowns give extra points, and there's a bonus for completing a level quickly at a high difficulty or for being accurate. Most of the rewards for performing well are intrinsic and linked to your final score, which will be put up on a global leaderboard for all to see. Not everybody is equally sensitive to seeing your name on the top of a classic high score list, but I'll admit, there's a special and enticing feeling to getting a top 10 score out of all the players in the world. Much of the game's replay value comes from nothing but increasing your rank on this list, and how much more you'll play that second after completing it depends on your willingness to watch your name rise to the top of the board of the 8 different levels. There are no extrinsic rewards for having a high score on the leaderboard. This is all about the bragging rights. Completing levels and obtaining achievements grants you currency, which can be spent on new firearms and cosmetic items. These cosmetic items come in the form of new gloves and paint jobs for your weapons. In total, there are 6 different one-handed firearms to unlock. Once again, not a massive amount, but they're all different enough to make things interesting. Maybe you prefer a rapid-fire machine gun, or maybe a high-power revolver is more to your liking. As a bonus, dual wielding can be unlocked for all weapons. I could never get the hang of manually reloading dual-handed weapons, but maybe you'll fare better than I did here. Either way, it's a cool addition that sells the high energy and action that the game is trying to bring to the table at all times. Graphically and stylistically, the game is charming. Blasting foes sees their bodies go flying. Levels are properly and intuitively designed and you'll fly through them in no time. Weapons look well designed and the art style knows where to abstract things into the realm of cartoony action to maintain the frantic but upbeat feeling of playing it. Shooting people is rarely this delightful and lighthearted in tone. It reminds me of John Woo movies, and I would not be surprised if the developers took inspiration from his material. It's like playing an action movie. Once again, this game isn't meant to be played for weeks on end. Completing all 8 levels can be done in about an hour in total. There's 3 different difficulty levels. You unlock the more difficult ones by completing the level in the easier setting. Increasing the difficulty means decreasing your total health, and it will also make enemies quicker and more capable in combat. This does extend the length of the game somewhat. It's a shame, however, that the harder difficulties don't change anything beside your health and enemy responsiveness. Enemies will be faster and more deadly, but the level layouts don't change. You'll fight the exact same enemies coming from the exact same positions, and there's no increase in the amount of foes that appear during a run either. In short, nothing new happens between your first or 10th run, no matter the difficulty. Furthermore, I don't think the hard mode is, well, really all that hard. I died exactly once in the couple of hours I explored that second. I was prepared for things to ramp up in intensity, but it never really did. There's nothing inherently wrong with a power fantasy, but I kinda wish there was more of a challenge to be found here beyond getting a high score. I noticed a few other things too. The teleportation mechanic allows for player agency over the direction and timing of their movements in what would otherwise be a classic on-rails cover shooter. One can easily imagine this system to have more features than it does right now, such as branching paths going to different places across the levels, or including or excluding teleportation zones based on certain events that could occur during a run. Perhaps it could have been used more prominently in the combat as well, as only some areas allow you to advance quickly and deep into enemy positions, while most only allow the player to teleport around the edges of a shootout. Maybe the cover you're using to shield yourself from enemy fire could be destroyed by enemies, forcing you to teleport to safety. The system is fine and functional as is, but it's clear that some opportunities have been left on the table. The currency you're given to spend on weapons and cosmetics isn't hard to come by, so you'll unlock everything you need in no time. Funnily enough, the game employs a daily reward system which hands you money to encourage you to come back on another day. As you'll easily attain all the currency you'll ever need in just one sitting, the feature seems entirely superfluous. I see no reason for this to be here at all. If you're a trophy hunter on PlayStation, I must disappoint you. Like many of its smaller brethren, the game contains a set of trophies, but without including the coveted Platinum Trophy, which is earned for obtaining all other achievements. I know at least a few people that will decide on a purchase based on an achievable Platinum, and sadly for them, that opportunity isn't here. There's no story here to connect any of the levels. Now, like I mentioned in a previous video, not every video game needs a story, and some are totally fine, maybe even better, without them. Still, if you're looking for that here, you'll be leaving empty-handed. And although I accept the amount of content the game has as of now, the skeleton of this tiny gun game has the potential to hold more meat on its bones than it does right now. The shooting gameplay and mechanics are simply solid all around, and a bit more variety in enemies, weapons and level layouts, or even just moving things around on hard mode would have created more meaningful game time here. Beside the main assignments, there exists only the gun range. No other content is to be found here at all. Some form of an endless mode or other game modes would have been so very welcome here too. That second is short and sweet, but it also leaves the taste of more on the tongue. All in all, this game gets a recommendation from me. It's tiny and tight and never veers from its mission to be exciting, engaging and flashy at all times. The game is a cheap purchase, it's 15 euros and on sale as we speak for less than 10. A fair price for what is offered, I think. Is this game for you? If you've ever had any fun with a light gun game back in the day, you are the target audience. If you like fast-paced action, if you want to feel like a gunslinger, if you're looking for something to be ace at in no more than a few hours, that second might be right up your alley. If leaderboards are your thing, this might be one for you too, because if I can reach spot number 5 on a given level's leaderboard, you can do it too. Let me know when you bump me off of that spot. As ever, all footage was recorded on the PlayStation VR 2 version of the game. That second is also available on MetaQuest and Steam. Like this show? Do let me know. Leave a like and your thoughts below because I always love to hear from you. Subscribe for more content down the line, and make no mistake, just one extra like or subscription can really help me grow this small channel. Thanks for being here. I'll see you at the next one. Take care and goodbye.